For hours, the two allies locked in a tense standoff after Colombia refused to accept two military deportation flights from the U.S., turning them away when the planes were already en route. The Colombian president referencing this deportation flight to Brazil. Authorities there say some were denied water and access to a bathroom.
Colombia has now agreed to accept their own citizens who have been deported by the Donald Trump administration following the president's threats of implementing massive tariffs against Colombia should they deny entry of their own citizens into their own country. Now, let's get into how this entire episode broke down. But before I do, if you want a little tasty taste of what Cenk thinks about this story.
I think it's totally the Colombian president's fault, but I'm gonna explain why, and I think that Trump actually did the right thing. I know, get ready, buckle up, brace for impact.
All right, so hold for that. Let me just give you the details of the story to start off. So on Sunday, Colombia blocked two separate flights that were deporting hundreds of Colombian nationals who were in the United States illegally. Now, the president of Colombia, Gustavo Petro, called the flights inhumane treatment, but Colombia has accepted deportation flights from the United States in the past. In fact, in 2024, 124 planes carrying deported migrants from the US landed in the country. But Petro specified that Colombia would not accept military deportation flights. He feels that it's cruel that they weren't sent over in civilian flights, or I guess commercial flights. So he says, I cannot make migrants stay in a country that does not want them, but if that country sends them back, it should be with dignity and respect for them and for our country. Now, again, it's important to note that the Colombian president actually, authorized the flights and then rescinded those authorizations, which was a really bad move. And if he thought people wouldn't figure out that he had done that, he was sorely mistaken. But Petro also questioned whether the American president was trying to topple him. So he went on a super long rant on X. And in that rant, he said something along the lines of, you don't like our freedom, fine. I do not shake hands with white enslavers. So that's when Trump essentially threatened Colombia with tariffs and more. I was just informed that two repatriation flights from the United States with a large number of illegal criminals, this is Trump and his exact statement on Truth Social, were not allowed to land in Colombia. Petro's denial of these flights has jeopardized the national security and public safety of the United States. So I have directed my administration to immediately take the following urgent and decisive retaliatory measures. So Trump said that the United States would impose a 25% tariff on Colombia, which would increase to 50% within a week. He also said that he would fully impose banking and financial sanctions against Colombia, apply a travel ban on Colombian government officials into the United States and their associates, and even go further. He says that he would revoke their visas. AOC jumped in on this and basically drew attention to how the tariffs would impact American citizens. She said to punish Colombia, Trump is about to make every American pay even more for coffee. Remember, we pay the tariffs, not Colombia. Trump is all about making inflation worse for working class Americans, not better. He's lining the pockets of himself and the billionaire class. But in reality, the United States still happens to be Colombia's largest trading partner, and the country is in fact economically reliant on the United States. So Trump knew that these tariff threats would really pack a punch. And so he knew he had leverage and would basically pressure Colombia to play ball. Colombian exports to the United States include crude oil, coffee and cut flowers. Colombia also happens to be the largest South American market for agricultural products from the United States, including pork. Also, dairy, alcoholic beverages, and pet food are included in the top US exports to Colombia. And following Donald Trump's threats, looks like the president of Colombia has decided to cave. Okay, so Colombia's foreign ministry released a statement soon afterward that said, we have overcome the impasse with the United States government. It said the government would accept all deportation flights and guarantee dignified conditions for those Colombians on board. And yes, those flights include military flights. But I want to note that as this whole scuffle was happening, Colombia's president was like, I'm gonna send the presidential plane to pick up the migrants. Unclear if that's gonna happen, but what has definitely happened is they have now accepted military flights into the country to deport Colombian nationals.
Okay, so why do I think the Colombian president's at fault? So first of all, he changed his mind mid-flight. That's already totally unacceptable. You said that they could come. So that's problem number one. Problem number two is he said, sending him on a military plane is inhumane. I'm not sure why. And if you want them treated humanely, good news, they're gonna land soon. You can treat them as humanely as you like, okay? So guys, the question isn't this form of transportation. The question is who's on the plane. So if the Trump administration is right that it's convicted felons, sayonara, very happy to send them back, and I don't care how we send them back. And if you say, Cenk, that's not a progressive position, you're wrong. You could poll Democratic voters, you could poll Bernie voters. There's literally no one in the country who thinks that we should keep convicted felons that are undocumented immigrants, outside of a couple of radicals online, right? And so it's a very popular position, and if you choose to fight on those grounds, you will be burning all of our credibility. Then when they actually go to do mass deportations of non-felons and non-criminals, then you'll have no credibility left to fight back with, because you'll be known as the people who defended some of the worst gang members in the world. So this is, picking a fight on these grounds is ridiculous and really counterproductive and will really hurt the left. Now look, AOC, when she says we pay the tariffs, not them, that's true, okay? So when you stick with the truth, no problem. But look, anyway, I'm not trying to blame AOC for it. If all the tariffs happened, coffee prices would have gone up. But the tariffs weren't gonna happen because this was such a minor complaint by the Colombian president that any kind of tariff threat would have worked and did work. And by the way, if you're denying that the tariff threat worked, you're just living on a different planet.
Oh, it totally worked.
It worked instantly, right? And if the Colombian president is really bothered by the fact that it's US military planes and he's really sending his own plane to get some of these convicted felons back, great, no problem. I don't have any problem with that. I really couldn't care less how they go back. So I don't, and by the way, I read the actual statement of the Colombian president, sounding like the ravings of a lunatic mind.
Yeah.
It was totally nonsensical. And this like the white enslavers, I will not accept anything. Well, I mean, I will accept the white enslavers thing now that he threatened the tariffs. Okay, so that's, guys, just everybody has a domestic audience. He was directing that to his domestic audience. So I'm the big tough guy who's gonna fight America, blah, blah, blah. And he probably won't tell them that he immediately caved, right? Everybody does propaganda.
Yeah, but okay, so the thing is, his whole argument about the mistreatment of these migrants who are being deported makes no sense. Because if you're concerned about them being mistreated by the United States government, how does it make sense for you to deny those migrants, those Colombian nationals entry into your own country, right? You want to send them back to the United States where they're, according to him, being mistreated.
Well, that's why I said once they land, you could treat them as humanely as you like. You're welcome to have them back. So, but look, some on the left, again, they get frustrated and they go, no, you can't say he's welcome to have them back. Guys, the question is, who are they? If they're just normal undocumented immigrants and this guy is rounding everyone up and sending them back, I'm gonna fight along with you. That's gonna, and by the way, the American people are not gonna like that. They might think they like it now. We've got polling on that. We're gonna share with you a little bit later, right? But once they start seeing families being uprooted, they are not going to like it and he's gonna lose popularity. But if you decide that you wanna die on the political hill of keep the convicted felons here, you're gonna die politically on that hill. And I have no interest in you wrapping that albatross around the neck of the entire left. Thanks for watching the Young Turks, really appreciate it. Another way to show support is through YouTube memberships. You'll get to interact with us more. There's live chat emojis, badges. You've got emojis of me, Anna, John, JR. So those are super fun. But you also get playback of our exclusive member-only shows and specials right after they air. So all of that, all you gotta do is click that join button right underneath the video. Thank you.